This isn't a fairy tale, though it starts like one. This isn't a tragedy, though it ends like one. It's something else. We're something else.
We're the wonder.
We're the heroes.
The cure.
The failures, the alchemy. We're progress and history.
We're news.
But we're just girls who needed a job and wanted to work.
Chicago, 1920. There's Big Bill Thompson is right in the city.
So Johnny's Rhea and Africa.
I have 2 children who I love.
Jazz is playing on Paulson. The White Sox are playing at Comiskey.
I have a husband that I love.
When he touches me, I know I can fly.
And a company moved into the Marshall Fields Annex.
The Radio Dial Company.
It hired women like us.
I'm dating a bootlegger. Don't tell my mom.
The job of the century, the job of our dreams. It moved to Ottawa, Illinois, where over 1,000 women worked during the next 11 years.
And we started like this.
She's got 2 kids, just like you.
Hey, maybe you can swap and babysit. My kids are holy terrors, though.
And there's Frances.
Welcome.
She's the moral backbone of the gang.
Got my work cut out for me with this one over here.
Oh, she's referring to Charlotte. Charlotte's been known to eat our young.
Not true, Mr. Reed. I just get a little competitive when someone tries to break my record of watches painting for the day.
Charlotte, Catherine's not here to take your job. I gave her one of her own.
All right, it's easy. See? You take your little brush here, twirl it between your lips to make a point, and then dip it in the powder. Here. Why does it shine?
There's a little radio in there.
Just a smidge.
And then you paint. Lip, dip, paint.
Lip, dip,
Paint.
Lip, dip, paint. Lip,
dip, paint.
lip,
Dip.
paint.
Lip, dip,
Paint.
Lip.
Dip.
paint.
Tonight's our music is brought to you by Westlife.
Westlife.
This is an exceptional time, giving you right style and right on time.
Right on time.
Their luminous watches provide you with protection, judgment, and fashion, even in the dark of night.
How?
Westlife watches are made with the radio. It's the finest radio guaranteed to keep you glowing for 12 years or more.
Wow.
Over 1 million customers, they can't be wrong. They wear Westlife.
Westlife.
And Westlife only wears radio.
Radio. What are you girls going on about?
We make a list. Things that shine.
The money in my pocket.
Which feels great.
That pair of earrings at Marshall Fields I've had my eye on.
Lake Michigan.
On a Saturday.
In July. Gin in a glass from that place off the alley on Diversity. Which I don't know about. Really. I don't.
And time in our hands. Time in our eyes.
Time in the air.
On our dresses.
In our hair.
In us.
It won't come off.
It won't come off. It won't come off.
It's just dust. It'll come off.
Mr. Reed, it's not just on my skin anymore. It's in my skin. It's in my body. I think it's making me sick.
I did notice you missed a couple days this month. If you want to go see the company doctor, please do so, but you'll miss your quota for the day. If you miss too many more, we may have to let you go.
But Mr. Reed,
What did I help you today?
the definition of a company doctor. A doctor who takes care of the company.
The fainting spells and destruction of your teeth are connected to the malignancy in your jaw. This is a direct result of radium poisoning. Has anyone said this to you before?
No. Did you say radium poisoning?
Yes.
Could it be something else?
No. Did they warn you?
No.
Did they protect you?
No.
Did they tell you anything about the dangers of...
No! Radium poisoning is
irreversible?
meaning.
How do you want me to say it?
Like we can take it, Doc.
Terminal. In all your cases. The amount of radium you've been exposed to. So sorry.
Maybe he's wrong. We've been to so many doctors and he's the only...
No, Francis. He's right. He's the only one who's been honest with us.
Maybe we should see another doctor.
I'm done with doctors.
None of us have worked there for months now. Maybe it'll get out of our system.
It's too late. They did this to us. That's why they were so quick to get rid of us before we snitched or died on them. Charlotte, you heard him. We're out of time. So I say, why not make our time worth something?
What are you talking about?
They knew. They knew this was going to happen to us.
I got my husband and 2 kids I need to think about.
Me too. When I'm gone, my mom's got no one else. The company thinks we're just gonna go down quietly, right?
What exactly are you saying, Charlotte?
We put up a fight. God knows we've earned this. We find Kate, what do you think?
A big part of me wants to take my family, leave town, and pretend like this never happened.
And the other part of you?
The other part of me wants to take what time we have left to stand up straight, fix our hair, and go get those sons of...
Ladies! Leonard Grossman.
Leonard Grossman!
Specialties workman's compensation.
Compassion for the working class.
And general outrage.
This is disgusting, an absolute crying shame. Yes, I will take this case. Nah, I won't make any money. She might not make any money either, but that's not really the point here, is it?
No!
Well, we can't go to court with all of you at the same time. We're gonna need the most egregious and flagrant example among you. Bluntly put, who's the biggest mess? Well, I'm gonna need specifics. Specifics wins a case. So specifically,
I've been diagnosed with bone cancer, necrosis of the jaw, and extreme radium poisoning.
serving it up on a plate for me. It's all right, we can get it. But it'll be tough. They're gonna put you through the ringer. I mean, all. You're like a press, too. Good, bad, otherwise. The whole song and dance. You up for it?
She's tough as nails, right, Katie? We all are.
Our case went to court.
Our story went to press.
And the press went to town.
A travesty is unfolding just outside of Chicago, where several disgruntled women are accusing a beloved company of foul play.
These women allege that the Radium Job Company knowingly compromised their health, safety, and lives.
Each of these women was fired several months ago for poor performance.
Those bastards.
In contrast, Radium Dial is known for its impeccable products and paying generous wages with unskilled workers.
Until they get sick.
These girls are now filing their case before the Illinois Industrial Commission.
One of Grossman's first witnesses to take the stand is the Dr. Walter Dowd. Dr. Dowd, from your examination of Mrs. Donahue, would you say her condition is temporary or permanent?
Permanent.
And is it fatal?
Yes, it is fatal.
Is she suffering from the effects of what illness?
Radium poisoning.
Acquired through urinalysis.
I work at the Radium Dial Company. That's what all these women are suffering from. There is no treatment for the person's effects.
Although 2 years have passed, these women press on with their charges. In spite of community pressure to stop they insist on fighting.
These women are known as the living dead women. Will they still be alive before they can finish their case?
Compensation for each woman may be as much as $700 annually. More and more women filing for cases. Will Radio Dow Company survive?
Now, key figure in the case. Catherine Donahue.
Donahue, you were what age you started to work for the company?
19.
Mrs. Donahue, speak clearly for the record.
Yes, Your Honor. 19.
And your work was to?
Printed watch faces with radio cover. It got everywhere. My hands, my clothes. When I walked through my night, I glowed.
From the radium powder?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mrs. Donahue, I have a piece of evidence here. Would you mind telling the court exactly what's in this box?
2 pieces of bone.
Bones of what, Mrs. Donahue?
They're mine. They were removed from my jaw.
No further statements, Your Honor.
Katie won her case 6 times. The Radium Dial Company appealed every time. After losing all 6, they appealed to the Supreme Court. The Illinois Industrial Commission awarded Catherine $5,600 on July 6, 1938. She died 21 days later.
Her case changed Illinois law so that companies could finally be held responsible for the safety of their workers.
She was a test, the cure, the alchemy, progress, and history.
There are angels, miracles, and sins, and they're all made of ours. On the shore of the lake with my friends and family that last time, I walked the water. Small waves and grace all around. Faith at the edge of the world. Lucky me that I still believed in it all. After all this, a million clocks stopped in the city.
Watches closed their eyes.
Their faces slept.
The earth stopped turning, and time stood still for just a moment.
Just for us. And I knew I was blessed to have held so much of it in my hands. The faces of everyone I loved. The faces of my friends.
Charlotte Purcell,
Frances O'Connor,
Pearl Payne, Margaret Glasinski,
and so many more. Their beautiful bodies, all looking back at me. For that moment, while time turned its face, we were all there. And we were shining.
tonight's will be online on SpeechWire, just like last year. Also, as I said earlier, we are live streaming this awards assembly right now on IHSA.tv. So let your friends and family know who aren't here that they can watch us right now live. Finally, as we get started, we're going to ask the finalists to come on up here on stage, and the next event will be waiting right here in our VIP finalists row. So it's reserved there, and you'll have the best seat in the house while you await your turn to be crowned the state champion. So, without further ado, let me have on stage the finalists in dramatic duet acting, and here on finalists row are finalists in humorous interpretation. In sixth place, in dramatic duet acting, from West Chicago High School, Robert Bradley and Jacqueline Kopisiak. In fifth place, from Evanston Township High School, Gail Stamos and Matt Chappelle. In fourth place, from Oak Lawn Community High School, Carl Siebel and Kaylee Clark. In fifth place, from Southland College Prep Charter, Janessa Colquitt and Eric Thomas. As we're going to announce the state champion, I just want to remind the audience that they would love to hear their names. So please, allow them that moment before you go wild and applaud so that you can really hear who they are and really give them the congratulations that they've earned. So our tournament runners-up in dramatic duet acting from Hinsdale South High School, David Petrock and Joe Klug. Our state champions from Hinsdale Central, Nicole Lehman and Jackson Joplin.
Hello?
Oh, thank God you're home. What's another word for explore?
Explore?
It's for these short answers on Jake's kindergarten application. He's got his tests and his interviews next week.
Hey, is there anything to eat?
I'm trying to say I wanted to have the opportunity to explore not only the different subjects, but also the different approaches to learning. But I've used explore already.
What's Cinderella doing on top of the fridge?
Jake was in the bathroom playing, making her a gown out of toilet paper. Anyways, he knocks her off the toilet seat. He comes running in crying. He was decapitated Cinderella. Oh, read.
Okay. Where?
Right there.
The first thing one notices about Jake is his curiosity and his imagination.
What?
His mention things.
That is some kind of foreplay. Correcting my grammar.
Still got it.
His preschool teacher said that most places are going to read this and then they're going to meet Jake. And it's Always a good sign when parents seem to really know their kid. She suggested that we mention his gender variant play. Do you think that's weird?
I think this whole thing is weird. I mean, he likes to dress up. Maybe she's strategizing, trying to make him stand out.
What if I mentioned the essay that Jake loves playing Cinderella, and then he goes to these group interviews and they say, "Hey kid, wanna come play with the Barbies? Why don't you come over here and play with all the girls?"
That's not gonna happen.
I just think that the fact that Jake loves fairy tales is not necessarily the most important thing we're talking about. I mean, he can multiply to tens, he knows all 50 states on a map.
He's a genius. He's a genius. Some school is going to be very lucky to have a kid like Jake. Author Elizabeth Stone describes having a child as forever having your heart, but walking around outside your body.
Parents' hopes and dreams can often get tangled in the hopes and dreams of their child. This can cause confusion and conflict.
Especially for the parents of a kid like Jake.
By Daniel Pearl.
Oh, hey. Oh my God, what is all this?
Different sections. Verbal ability, coding, fine motor skills. They tested everything.
This is child abuse. I mean, he's 4 years old. I can't believe we have to go through all this to go to a private kindergarten. Wait. Jake aces his kindergarten entrance exam and suddenly you're coming on to me?
I just wanted to say thank you for your excellent genes.
I need to tell you something. Okay, I don't want you to freak out.
What?
Okay, so at Jake's kindergarten interview or exam or whatever, there might have been a small problem.
What happened?
Okay, so they took Jake into the playroom with some current kindergartners for some kind of unstructured playtime. Apparently, Jake made friends with one of the girls, and they started talking, and at some point, one of the boys overheard what they were saying, and this boy started teasing Jake. The woman in charge said it happened very fast, and before she could get in the middle of it, Jake had sort of shoved the kid.
Wait, Jake shoved him?
So look, they know it wasn't his fault, right? They weren't blaming Jake. The woman was actually very sweet. She just wasn't sure how to tell him his son was engaging in creative role-playing. He was the Little Mermaid, it turns out. The point is, after it all happened, she sat them all down and gave them a talk about respectful behavior, and she encouraged Jake to use his words if he was angry.
Well, he couldn't talk, though.
I guess he didn't.
No, I mean, the Little Mermaid, she loses her voice. She can't talk throughout the movie.
Oh.
That didn't occur to you?
No, it didn't.
Jesus.
Wait, you're mad at me?
Well, it's not good. Now they're going to think he's got anger issues and they're looking for anything.
Well, somehow I was a little more concerned about Jake and how it might affect his chances.
Excuse me?
Maybe we've got things a little backwards.
Hey, that's not fair. My being concerned with his chances is being concerned with Jake.
No.
I mean, this is where he's going to be, presumably for the next 12 years, so unless you want to do public school, and I looked at PS 116, okay? And frankly, if you're worried about him getting teased, reading The Little Mermaid at Trevor Day School, you really got to go out and act and be like a friggin' bitch.
You know what, fine.
So don't tell me I'm not concerned for Jake.
Frankly, we're lucky to be raising a kid like Jake now versus, 20 years ago?
What exactly does that mean? A kid like Jake?
Oh my God, can you imagine my father? If I'd ever made a skirt out of a bathtub, it was bad enough that I stunk at baseball. Look, I talked to his preschool teacher. He's been acting out lately. She thinks, I don't know, maybe the moodiness, compulsive behavior. It might be related to anxiety about his gender.
Jesus Christ!
Listen. I need to tell you something. At the school, on the students' birthdays, whenever they have a birthday, they tell the teacher their wish, and the whole class wishes for it to come true. Jake's teacher told me his wish was to be a girl.
Give me a break. So you think he's suffering, that he's ready to start taking estrogen at age 4?
I just think it's worth discussing with a professional.
Look,
there are people who specialize in exactly this sort of thing, and putting him in therapy doesn't mean encouraging.
How do you know? A specialist is a specialist because that's what they're all about. They'll immediately assume it's some gender identity disorder. None of this was an issue until we started pitching him as some girly boy diversity.
Wait, what?
Obviously, this is going to affect the way people treat him, the people he's meeting at these schools. I bet he's sick of being pushed in this role by his teacher, by us.
What's your solution then? Just keep on pretending like nothing's wrong?
No. Let's embrace this. Why don't you go take Jake dress shopping? Why don't you go get your nails done, huh? I mean, it's not like you've ever taken him to a bar or thrown a ball in his direction.
You know, maybe you could be a little grateful that I don't care what you read, or what kind of games he likes to play, or whether or not he does want to be a girl someday, maybe. God, I should get a little credit because I love my son. Unconditionally. Al.
You think he's a girl?
No. I don't think he's a girl. I just think he's confused. And I think we need to make some choices about how to address it.
So you just want to put him in a room with a stranger and wipe your hands? I don't want to fail this.
Alex, putting him in therapy doesn't mean we fail.
I failed.
Come on.
No.
I'm sorry. Look, I don't know what's going to happen, but what I do know is that we need to be together on this. For Jake.
Finalists in HI, and here in finalist row are finalists in dramatic interpretation. In sixth place in humorous interpretation, from Thornwood High School, Torrance Johnson. In fifth place, from Harrisburg, McCartney Motzinger. In fourth place, from Sterling High School, Clarissa Forster. In third place, from Southland College Prep Charter, De'Ara Wright. Your state runner-up in humorous interpretation is from Nequa Valley, Monica Martinet. And the 2015 state champion in humorous interpretation from Wheaton Warrenville South, Maddie Kobiak.
If you have a question, please raise your hand. Really? Every single person has a question. You, young scholar. Me? You have a question? I do. Your hand is raised. Oh, I do. What's your question? So, for graduation, is it work? How does it work? Okay, let's show
Sure, like housekeeping. Like a puppet show. Because I put on puppet shows for my little sister, and trust me, my hands are not 2 dinosaurs.
I'm pretending I'm a student. I'm a student sitting in the audience.
The principal, who I hear is a delight, and has multiple advanced degrees, will call my name.
Phyllis Paisley. Oh, that's me. Walk, 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 shake, 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 grab diploma, exit. And that's it. That's all you have to do tomorrow. Great, fantastic. I'll see you all out there.
Really? You all still have questions. Graduate, good times, come on! It's graduation. Graduation for Dummies by A. McWethy.
Taylor, what's your question? I was just wondering if we had to walk in a straight line like you just did. What I did is what you should do, basically. Well, what you did was a tad on the boring side for a creative walker like myself.
What do you mean you're a creative walker?
Can I show you? No, I don't want people coming on stage. It'll take like 2 seconds. And then you'll see that my way of walking is way better than what you just did. Say my name. What?
Say my name.
Say my name. Say my name.
Taylor, Taylor. Go, Tay, Tay. Go, Tay, Tay.
And shake, 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 and diploma. Absolutely not. You're gonna walk in a straight line. But that is so boring. That would just be like selfie. I don't care. Everyone does that. The ceremony will take 5 hours. Okay, so yo, person.
What's up, Mark?
What's up?
So, what would happen? Hard to say. If I broke your hand when I shook it. I could break my hand because I got a mean grip. Like a mean grip. Like if my grip were a person, they'd be like, man, I'm right. Like my grip is mentioned in math class when averaging out numbers, it's so mean. What? Like you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
I'm sure you're strong. But this isn't gonna be an issue.
Can I remotely show you like Tay-Tay just did?
Fine. Mark Thompson, congratulations, Mark.
How's your hand, Paisley?
Fine.
What about now?
Still fine.
What about now?
Your hands getting sweatier.
Really? Nothing at all?
Absolutely nothing. Oh,
Nah, y'all, she just playing.
excuse me, Principal Paisley. Yes, Tish. What's her issue?
Stage fright. I have terrible stage fright.
You're gonna be on the stage for 2 seconds.
Still on the stage.
Be up there by myself. You know what? Why don't you just come on up here? Because that seems to be what we're doing now.
It's just, I get nauseous more than anything.
I think you'll be okay. Tish Turner. No.
Oh, God.
Come on. I'm gonna be sick. You can't really be sick.
I'm sweating.
Are you serious?
I think I'm okay.
I think you should sit down. Is there anyone else with a similar affliction? Because as of now, I don't think anyone is graduating from.
Miss Paisley,
Miss Euler, finally someone normal.
first, thank you so much for this presentation.
Thank
Since when is this not a puppet show?
So you know what? I don't care. When it comes to graduation, I don't care. Do whatever you want. I'm sure it'll be great. Da, 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 da. Hello? It is my honor to announce this year's graduating class. AJ Bukowski. Taylor. Mark Thompson.
Get ready for this, Paisy.
Your grip is as tough as Taylor Swift's street cred.
So, me.
Tish Turner. Thank you. Tish, you did it. I did. One moment. Jenna Mueller. And finally, Tito Valencia. Again.
If we could have the finalists in dramatic interpretation join us on stage. And down here on finalist row are finalists in impromptu speaking. In 6th place in dramatic interpretation, from Oak Lawn Community High School, Cameron Del Moro. In 5th place, from Minooka, Tanika Warner. In 4th place, from Charleston High School, Emma Walker. From Sandburg High School, Dean Papadopoulos. Your state runner-up in dramatic interpretation is from Hinsdale Central, Presley Renner. And this year's state champion in dramatic interpretation from Buffalo Grove is Georgia.
When people ask me about my dad, I don't really know what to say. Know what I mean? I mean, what was your dad like? Oh yeah? Good for you. Yeah, he was special to me, you know. But then again, I'm bound to say that, ain't I? I was about 18 years old, you know. Sweating away, working with bags, and my dad says to me, "Come on, kid, show me what you got. 2 blocks, 2 hits, 2 body strikes, heavy hook." He says, "Good." And smiling, he tells me, "Ring club." Oh, we ran around the gym, whooping and laughing, and without saying a word, it was agreed. No, we stuck charts up on the wall, every competition planned, every fight, one step closer to my dream. Chance to prove to the world I'm worth something. Prove them all wrong. See, women are gonna fight in the 2012 Olympics. Women can't box. You watch. The regret that follows the loss of a loved one is the most difficult to move forward from. However, if we accept the lessons from our regrets, we become motivated to improve ourselves, to ultimately meet our goals. We must make the choice whether our regrets debilitate us, or propel us. Bitch Boxer by Charlotte Josephine. Oh, every fighter's got a reason they fight. Oh yeah, of course it's dangerous. That's why we do it. It's addictive, the feeling you get when the adrenaline kicks in. And my mom left us when I was 11 and my dad was gutted. I came home from school and my dad was on the sofa crying. He stayed like that for 2 weeks. That's how much he loved her. Me? I smashed the house up. Oh, but Dad knew what to do. He dried his eyes, took us down to the gym, and he started training me. Taught me to control my anger, focus it into power, strength, speed. Just me and my dad, fighting the world together. And I loved it. And lo and behold, natural talent. I'd slip my hand into Dad's while we walked to the gym every day. He looked down at me, he'd smile. But eventually I got to that age where I didn't want to hold Dad's hand anymore. It wasn't cool. And I could tell that he was hurt by it, but he never said nothing. A couple weeks before my qualifying fight, the phone rings. And they tell me Dad's dead. And I feel like my legs have been snapped from under me. I hate the amount of money spent on flowers at funerals. Not really. My dad never spent money on flowers, and now all of a sudden he's getting hundreds of them. I don't get it. If you want to spend your money, spend it at the gym. That's what he'd have wanted. Oh, and all the kids from the gym turned up, and their parents, and their parents' parents, and everybody kept telling me how very, very sorry they all were, and what a terrible waste it all was. Yeah, you're right, I wanted to say. Waste the money and all the flowers. And I could tell that they were watching me. All sly, like out of the corner of their eye, waiting for me to crumble. But when you've been fighting all your life, it's hard to just crumble. I just wanted to carry on, because I didn't have time to stop and cry about it, No amount of crying is going to bring it back, so I didn't let any tears fall. Not one. And people, you didn't get that. They said I've been working too hard, that I need a rest, that I need to take a year off. What do you mean, take a year off? This is 2012, the first year women can fight, and it's in London. It's my year. I'll do it on my own. My dad once told me you gotta fight for the things you love. Well, just one more fight to win, and I'm there. And after months of training, this is it. Just me and her in the ring, the two of us the same, both of us taking this one shot we got at the title. She's scared just as much as me. We're in the ring waiting for the bell, and she's in her corner listening to her coach. He demonstrates what he wants her to do. She smiles and nods, and he pats the side of her face, placing his forehead on hers for just a moment. And it's suddenly clear that he's her dad. My throat closes up, and I choke, and I'm freaking out. I have this dream where I'm capturing this moment with my dad at my side, and now he's not around. I wish I hadn't been embarrassed. I wish I'd been proud of holding my dad's hand, because I miss it now, and I regret it now, and I wish I'd held my dad's hand forever, because now he isn't here. I'm alone here, and I'm freaking out. I'm thinking, Dad, what do I do? Chloe, look for an opening. Knock out. It's the only way to win. And it's as if he snuck in. He wouldn't miss it. And I suddenly realized that I could win this! Because that's what he would have wanted. I hear the announcer's voice, ladies and gentlemen, Olympian Chloe Jackson. You get a knock from life, and it wins you. For me. But you gotta pick yourself back up and get your game face on. It ain't gonna be easy. Deep down, every fighter's got a reason they fight. I fight for the things I love.
There were 7 finalists in the final round of impromptu. In 7th place, from University High School in Normal, Barat Cole. In 6th place, from Sandburg High School, Moyo Abiola. In 5th place, from the Illinois Math and Science Academy, Ganesh Kanal. In 4th place, from Hinsdale Central, Stephen Chubby. In 3rd place, from Charleston High School, Katie Mueller. Your tournament runner-up in impromptu speaking, Akira Hawkins from Eisenhower High School. Oregon State Champion in impromptu speaking, Parth Patel from Hopkins.
Shout out to Dan Brophy from Downersville North High School and Chris Callahan from Prospect High School. They asked for it, so. Number 2, not committees. Number 3, Olivia Rory. We need to discuss if we're going to go to prom together. So. Single-handedly, he defeated the Spanish and told them to sway word. Yeah, I counted. fundamental examples of a team player. Single-handedly, he, as a Creole witness, was able to find better aspects and unite a bunch of people in the traditional Incan Empire to fight against the Spanish oppressors. Because of this, he put the team into team effort. Together, these Incan forces defeated the Spanish military, and even though in the end the Incan Empire was decimated by the Spanish, momentarily it was a shining moment of brilliance for the Incan Empire. But Tupac Amaru II's situation is exactly what is paralleled by today's phrase. There is no I in team. And we see that this is entirely true. Literally, there is no I in team. And it's also important for us to focus on unity. Because if we work together, we can find cohesive and comprehensive solutions to any problem that we may have. So first, unity can allow us to have a freedom from oppression. Second, we'll examine how it also solves problems. And finally, perhaps most importantly, it will implement our society towards better grades and coerce our society to work towards a more efficient solution to any problem. The most fundamental aspect about this phrase is the fact that we have to work together as a collective whole and as a team. Each individual person is an I, but when we come together, there is no I in team at the end. And unity truly fosters towards our greater good and our greater progress. Thus, we turn to the most quintessential example of this, Simón Bolívar. Simón Bolívar, for those of you who don't speak fluent Spanish, él fue un héroe más fantástico y fabuloso. Which essentially means he was a fantastic and awesome man. But Simón Bolívar single-handedly started 6 revolutions in South America, and simultaneously became president of 3 of them, Bolivia, bigger, Venezuela, and Peru. But he would never have been able to do this had he not used his battalion and the team effort to overthrow the Spanish oppressors that were there. These Spanish imperialists only came to South America to reap the raw materials that were available. Simón Bolívar saw through this. He united people of 6 different independent nations and asked them and persuaded them to rise up. Because they all worked together as a team, rather than individualistic units, they were able to overpower the more stronger military that was the Spanish army, and eventually declare freedom for everyone who was involved. So in this case, we see that there truly is no individual effort in the word of team, because team means we're working together as a united force. When we work together as a united force, we can free ourselves from any oppressor that may have his or her grasps upon ourselves. But it's also important to examine that teamwork allows us to solve problems more efficiently. Because of this, we can find a better avenue towards our success. So thus, we turn to Sir John Harrington and Thomas Crapper. For those of you who don't know who these 2 gentlemen were, you might want to thank them, because without them, we never would have had the modern flush toilet. That's right, Sir John Harrington and Thomas Crapper worked together. I know, right? That makes complete sense why they call it crap. But Sir John Harrington and Thomas Crapper had to work together. Sir John Harrington had a novel idea, sanitation. And after the Industrial Revolution in Britain, there really was no sanitation and disease was widespread and rampant. But together, they worked together. Thomas Crapper had a solution for flushing the bowel movement out of the toilet, and the original idea was by Sir John Harrington. Together, when they pulled these ideas together, they created a more modern and improved sanitation system within Europe at large, and then eventually the world. We owe our lives to Sir John Harrington and Thomas Crapper, but more importantly, their teamwork. Individually, they never would have created this novel idea, but together, they combined their ideas into one novel technological innovation. And it helped solve many problems down the line for all of us. And finally, perhaps most important, when we work together, we can force our society to change for the better and allow ourselves more room and space to improve our society standards right now. So let's return to the Great Hot Air Balloon War of 1901. The Great Hot Air Balloon War was a war between great hot air balloons. And in this case, there was 2 gentlemen specifically involved. Monsieur Grand Prix and Le Pic. Monsieur Grand Prix and Le Pic were 2 different Frenchmen who had a novel idea of getting a girl. You see, they both had their eyes on a sexy opera dancer. So they wanted to, date her. But in this case, both of them wanted to do that simultaneously, and only one person could win. So they did what all rational people would do. Went up in the air about 2,000 feet and started to fire torpedoes at each other. But at that moment, Monsieur Grand Prix had a great ally, Ferdinand von Zeppelin. Together, they were able to beat the Peak. So in this case, we said Monsieur Grand Prix, working together with Ferdinand von Zeppelin, created the first militarized hot air balloon, what we commonly know as the technological innovation of the Zeppelin. But without them working together, they never would have forced society to find a new and better technological advancement that would allow people to take down these Zeppelins that were decimating Europe all across World War I and World War II. And it was this teamwork that forced society to come together and to think about a feasible, tangible solution to their problems so that we can move on towards a future and end two great world wars. Teamwork is truly dependent on people coming together. Whether it's forced in a disastrous situation such as the hot air balloon fight, or whether it is just commonality for someone desperate in a situation, teamwork truly resolves all problems. So when returning to today's phrase, there is no I in teamwork, we see that the most important aspect about this is that individualism may be great. We're working together as a collective whole, even though I sound communistic right now, it does help improve our standards for the future. We examine this in 3 ways. First, we focus on how we need to unite against oppression. Second, together when we have teamwork, we can solve any problem. And finally, perhaps most importantly, teamwork forces us to work together. Tupac Amaru II could never have single-handedly taken back Cusco had he not had his militia to back him up. It was this teamwork and this fighting passion that they had and fervor to get the Spanish out of their country that allowed them to become successful in the end. Together, as a team, we can make great memories, but we can also solve problems that plague our society. Because we're all in this together, regardless of how we think. And individually, we all team up. Society can improve.
And we're going to have up on stage the finalists in oratorical declamation. And please join us down here in finalist row, the finalists in extemporaneous speaking. There were 6 finalists in oratorical declamation. In 6th place, from Shepherd High School, Jana Scott. In 5th place, from Buffalo Grove, Georgette Voss. From Glenbard West, Daisy Jones. In 8th place, from Southland College Prep Charter, Janessa Colquitt. Second place in declamation, Greg Nussbaum from Wheaton, Lorenville South. And your state champion from Charleston, Emma Walker.
I'm not going to ask anyone to prom. But to the Freddie's family and Pete, who's in the hospital, this is for you. I want to take you back to the summer of 2011. My kids had all grown up, and my son Pete, who had played baseball at Boston College and professionally in Europe, had now come home and was selling group insurance. One night I found myself sitting with Pete, and he was just sort of looking at me. And he said, "You know, Mom, I don't think selling group insurance is my mission in life. I don't think I'm living up to my potential." And then he said that he had to leave early from vacation because his inner-city league team that he played for made the playoffs. And he had to get back to Boston because he just couldn't let his team down. So off he went, and we followed 4 days later to see the next playoff game. And we're at the playoff game, Pete's at the plate, and a fastball's coming in, and it hits him on the wrist. and his wrist goes completely limp. So for the next 6 months, he went back to his home, kept working this unpassionate job, and was going to doctors to see what was wrong with this wrist that never came back. Author Charles Swindoll once said, "We are all faced with opportunities brilliantly disguised as impossible situations. For Pete Frates and his family, this opportunity comes in the form of a devastating diagnosis." In Nancy Frates' 2014 TED Talk, she tells the inspiring story of her son's efforts to leave a legacy not only for his family, but for the whole world as well. Meet the mom who started the Ice Bucket Challenge by Nancy Frates. In March, he called me and he said, "Hey Mom, we found a doctor who found a diagnosis for that wrist. Would you like to come to the doctor's appointment with me?" And I said, "Sure." We walk into the neurologist's office, sit down. 4 doctors walk in. And the head neurologist sits down and he says, "Well, Pete, we've been looking at all the tests, and I have to tell you, it's not a sprained wrist, it's not a broken wrist, it's not nerve damage in the wrist, it's not an infection, it's not Lyme disease, and there's this deliberate elimination going up." And I'm thinking, where is he going with this? Then he puts his hands on his knees, looks right at my son, and says, "Pete, I don't know how to tell a 27-year-old this. You have ALS." I look at my husband, he looks at me, we look at the doctor, and we say, "ALS? Okay, what's the treatment? What do we do? Let's go." And he says, "Mr. and Mrs. Frates, I'm sorry to tell you this, but there's no treatment, and there's no cure." So we all go home, and 6 hours later after diagnosis, we're all sitting around having a family dinner. I don't even remember cooking dinner that night. But then our leader, Pete, said, "There will be no wallowing, people." We're not looking back, we're looking forward. I'm going to change the face of this unacceptable situation. I'm going to move the needle, and I'm going to get this disease in front of donors like Bill Gates. And that was it. We were given our mission. So over the next couple of months, Pete was put on this compassionate use drug. And it was hope in a bottle for the whole ALS community. It was in a phase 3 trial. Then 6 months later, the data came back. It wasn't working. So for the next 2 years, I just watched my son be taken away from me little by little, every day. 2.5 years ago, Pete was hitting home runs at baseball fields. Today, Pete's completely paralyzed. He can't hold his head up any longer. He's confined to a motorized wheelchair. He can't swallow or eat. He has a feeding tube. He can't speak. He talks to us with eye gaze technology and a speech-generating device, and we're watching his lungs because eventually his diaphragm is going to give out, and the decision will be made to put him on a ventilator. Or not. ALS robs a human of all of their physical parts, but the brain stays intact. He's still Pete. But 2 years after this diagnosis, on July 27, 2014, well, that's when the ice started to fall. Pete's roommate in New York City said, "I'm taking the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge," picked up the bucket, put it over his head, and "I'm nominating." And he sent it up to Boston. And over the next couple of months, our newsfeed was full of family and friends. So we all sat down and we realized money is coming in. No, a lot of money. So we knew awareness would lead to funding. We just didn't know it would only take a couple of days. Week 1, Boston media. Week 2, national media. Week 3, celebrities, Entertainment Tonight, Access Hollywood. Week 4, global. BBC, Irish radio. And to those skeptics, let's just talk a couple of stats. To date, the ALS Association has raised over $125 million. ALS, TDI, and Cambridge had a clinical trial for a drug that they were developing, and it was on a 3-year track for funding. It's coming out next month. And YouTube has reported that over 150 countries have posted ice bucket challenges for ALS. And Facebook, 2.5 million videos. And the ALS patients, you want to know what their favorite videos are? All of them. Because this misunderstood, underfunded, rare disease, they just sat down and they kept watching people say it over and over again, ALS. And my family's favorite video? Bill Gates. Because the night that he was diagnosed, he said he was going to get this disease in front of donors like Bill Gates. And he actually did it. So after all of this ice, we know that it was so much more than just picking up buckets of ice water and putting them over our heads. So, I really would like to leave you with the gifts that my son has given me. I have had 29 years of having the honor of being the mother of Pete Frates. Pete Frates has been inspiring and leading his entire life. He has thrown out kindness, and every single bit of that kindness has come right back to him. He walks the earth right now and knows exactly why he's here. And the second gift that my son has given is my mission in life. Now I know why I'm here. I'm going to save my son. And if it doesn't happen in time for him, I'm going to work so that no other mother has to go through what I'm going through. So let me leave you with Pete's words of inspiration that he would use to classmates, co-workers, and teammates. Be passionate. Be genuine. Be hard-working. And don't forget to be great.
We're looking at the finalists in extemporaneous speaking. Join us up on stage. And down here in finals row, if we can have our finalists from original oratory. In 6th place, from Bartlett, Mikey Martinez. In 5th place, from Belleville West, Bethany Daly. 4th place, extemporaneous speaking, from Glenbard West, Colette Baer. In 3rd place, from Hinsdale Central, Stephen Chung. Your state runner-up in extent, Parth Patel from Huntley. Extemporaneous speaking, Moya
I would like to just say that I feel very honored and privileged to be here, and I did not expect this. And to all the competitors in that final round, you gave me heart attacks. So thank you very much. I would like to thank the Carl Sandburg speech team. Because we might call what we do individual events. For all of us who are champions in individual events, we know that all of this is a team effort. So thank you all so much. My ex-coach, Ms. Robertson, He woke up one morning from a coma in a hospital to find that he lost all 4 of his limbs. And he would tell you the last time he saw himself, he had all 4 of his limbs. He was wondering what was going on. The doctors then told him that he suffered from flesh-eating bacteria, which was going to claim his entire body unless it cut off his limbs to save his life. But he'll tell you now that he's so happy he had those amputations done, because they saved his life, even though he had to lose something along the way. Now think of ISIL, or ISIS, as this flesh-eating bacteria that the international community simply needs to cut away if we're going to save the Middle East and save the world. So when we look at today's question, how can the international community prevent ISIL from extending its reach? Well, they need to follow a 3-step method. First, they need to increase joint military action. Then, they need to diminish ISIL's propaganda and influence. And finally, they need to strengthen Syria as a whole. By following these 3 steps, they can ensure that not only do they get rid of ISIS from the Middle East, but they're able to save the world as well. ISIS, of course, you know, is dominant in Syria and most parts of the Middle East, but they actually have a plan of world domination. And it's going to take an international effort, a joint effort, to bring an end to ISIS and save the Middle East. You can already see examples of this occurring. In an article published in the Wall Street Journal on February 5th, 2015, it explains that Jordan, which has recently felt the wrath of ISIS since they killed one of its pilots, is actually closely joined to the U.S. military. In both nations, the U.S. and Jordan, are actually partnering with Afghanistan, sharing intelligence about where ISIS is. This is a good step for us, understanding that, quite frankly, no one country can take down ISIS, but a joint effort will be more successful. The more countries get involved means we have more troops on the ground, more military, and more intelligence being shared. Another article published in the New York Times on January 19, 2015, explains that while airstrikes haven't been the most effective method, they've been quite effective when they were used very heavily, as in the northern town of Kobani. So what we need is to find out exactly where ISIS is, and then use our airstrikes in the most effective way. This will ensure, through a joint effort, that we're able to get rid of ISIS militarily. It's also going to take more than just that. ISIS isn't solely powerful because of its violence, but because of its ability to inspire fear and to also incite violence in others. In an article published in CNN on January 22nd, 2015, it states that ISIS is now going into Yemen, trying to recruit people to join their team from there, because they view Yemen as a strong historical Islamic state. This is a problem. We're trying to diminish the number of ISIS members out there, not make them bigger. And the way ISIS is able to gain influence is through its propaganda, through its videos, through its photos, through its ability to incite fear in others. And you think that if it's a terrorist group, well then they shouldn't be able to spread this propaganda. But even ISIS has a Twitter account. How many of you here have a Twitter account? ISIS has one too. This is a problem and one that we must stop. And you might think that ISIS is solely in the Middle East, but the hashtag that is an article from Reuters on January 21st, 2015, explains that ISIS not only inspires fear in its opposition, but actually incites violence in others, such as the Syrian hostage crisis and even the Charlie Hebdo attacks. So they're reaching further beyond the Middle East. Therefore, diminishing their ability to spread their influence and propaganda will make it easier for the international community to get rid of ISIS. If you take away their strength, which is their influence, you take away ISIS. And finally, we have to get ISIS at its source, which is Syria. If we're able to strengthen Syria, then we make it less susceptible to groups such as ISIS. An article published in the Wall Street Journal on February 21st, 2015, explains that the U.S. is now involved in an effort that's facing military stalemate in the Syrian civil war and well-armed jihadists in ISIS. So what they need to do is focus on the more diplomatic needs of ousting president/dictator Bashar al-Assad. If they're able to get rid of him, then they can restore Syria to stability. And a stable Syria will not be susceptible to groups such as ISIS. But they're also recognizing that this effort is not just for the short term, but to protect Syria, the Middle East, and the world for the long term. So according to an article published in the Associated Press on January 25th, 2015, the international community is banding together to find a solution to the problem there. They're also arming the Syrian rebels who are currently facing Bashar al-Assad's troops and ISIS, two double threats that they simply can't take on by themselves. If we can strengthen the Syrian rebels, give them the ammunition and the support they need, they can get rid of ISIS, get rid of Assad, and restore their nation's power. Noel Watsonheiser will tell you that he's very happy that he got all 4 of his limbs cut off. In fact, he makes a lot of jokes about it. As a comedian, he can no longer do stand-up comedy, so he calls it sit-down comedy. And he's also said that he quit biting his nails cold turkey. So, it was for him going with this method. If the U.S. can take what happened to him and use it for a positive, they can get rid of ISIS as well. So looking back at the question, how can the international community prevent ISIL from extending its reach? Well, first, they need a joint increased military action, as this will drive the people away from its sectors. They need to diminish ISIS propaganda and its influence, as this is the major source of its power. And finally, they need to strengthen Syria, because a strong Syria will not fall victim to ISIS. So all this international community has to do is work together, not only to save the Middle East, but save the world from the horrors of ISIS.
If we could have the finalists in original oratory join us on stage, and down here in finalist row, if we could have the finalists in poetry reading. There were 6 finalists in original oratory. In 6th place, from Homewood Flossmoor, Edwin Mitchell. In 5th place, from Belleville West, Sam Geiger. In 4th place, from Wheaton Warrenville South, Beth Kohler. In 3rd place, from Fenton High School, Joshua Jalloway. Your state runner-up in original oratory, Grace Houghton Larson from Glenbard West. For 2015 state champion in original oratory, Zach Kennedy from
Last month, I celebrated a milestone. I turned 18, which means I can vote. Finally get that tattoo of Scooby-Doo. Or adopt a child. Probably not, but hey, I figured now I can hang out with the older crowd. The cool kids. My parents, on the other hand, disagree. Maybe it's due to my only child status. Or because of the small fender bender I got into in the parking lot. Or maybe it's because one of my friends is 25. Yeah, that one. In fact, you probably know my friend. He goes by the name LOL. Yes, this past year, LOL, the abbreviation for laughing out loud, turned a quarter of a century. Now, I love to laugh as much as the next guy, but admit it. Like me, you have typed LOL when you were not even remotely amused, or maybe even used it in passing conversation instead of actually laughing. But all laughing aside, when it comes to our interpersonal interactions, our use of digital shortcuts is one of the greatest deterrents to effective interpersonal communication, hindering our ability to express our emotions non-verbally, or even interpret the nonverbal cues of others. As we continue to embrace technology, old and new, we must not lose sight of the value of our face-to-face interactions, or else we risk a decline in our ability to not only understand words, but feelings. The problem comes into focus as we recognize the delicate balance that is this dance between technology and communication. In order to ensure what we see on the screen matches what is in our hearts and on our faces, we must first examine the extent to which there is a disconnect between nonverbal communication and technology, the dangers as we continue to face a decline in our face-to-face interactions, and finally, take steps to become better communicators on both sides of the screen. Fact: we are living in the age of technology. Our world is a playground filled with hacks and gizmos where with a single click, we have virtual access to everything and everyone. As the age-old question, if a tree falls in the forest, and you know the rest, becomes an equally mind-bending question. If you type LOL, and no one reads those letters, are you really laughing? We continue to evolve as a society of what researcher Mark Prensky refers to as digital natives, a population that has always had technology as the centerpiece for daily interaction. Now, this might be a good thing, but if we're going to consider the good, we must also look at the bad and the ugly. In her article, Why Screen Time Makes Us Clueless on Reading Social Cues, psychologist Abigail Jones says, technology and internet are so pervasive, so enmeshed in everyday life, that it has become virtually impossible to disconnect. While on its face this might have positive implications, it's important to look at how we actually communicate and have shared meaning in our words. In his book, Silent Messages, psychology professor Albert Moravia of UCLA says that only 7% of our face-to-face interactions involve actual words, and over 90% of our messages are conveyed through nonverbal means, such as facial expressions, gestures, and tone of voice. As our digital interaction limits these essential cues, our ability to balance verbal and nonverbal meaning is diminished. Vivian Zhang of Business Insider suggests that by 2020, millennials will lack deep thinking capabilities and face-to-face social skills. This will leave a generation completely robbed of the ability to emote, or as anthropologist Edward T. Hall refers to it as, using the silent language. In a recent study, Patricia Greenfield, distinguished professor of psychology at UCLA, found that 6th grade students had a difficult time recognizing even the simplest of nonverbal cues. A happy face looked angry. An excited expression was described as fearful. But after those same children were restricted from technology for just 5 days, their scores on nonverbal tests increased by 26%. The harm, as Greenfield defines it, is that while we tend to consider the benefits of digital media and education, we often overlook the costs, the greatest of which may be a decreased sensitivity to emotional cues. And while such a decline might have amusing results, such as for Olympic gymnast Michaela Maroney, whose not impressed face, which looks something like this, went viral after she failed to take home the gold at the 2012 Olympics, one's inability to read nonverbal cues can have a disastrous effect on our social interactions. In her article, Why Kids Get Woke, child psychologist Robin Nixon says that a child's inability to read the nonverbal cues and facial expressions of peers is directly tied to that child's potential to be bullied. Similarly, a nationwide study on bullying in the workplace found that adults who were shown to have weaker interpersonal skills than their coworkers were far more likely to report incidents of hostility in the workplace. And even before the birth of LOL, the Slogan Hall of Fame inducted AT&T's iconic "Reach out and touch someone." AT&T, a company at least partially responsible for the increase in technology, honored for a phrase advocating for personal interaction. Ironic. But now, as our fingers do the talking, this once hopeful phrase takes on a very different meaning. Now, I get it. As someone who has never been able to read Lady Gaga's poker face, and when it comes to this face, well, I have what my mom affectionately refers to as resting glitch face. She says it always looks like there's something wrong with me. I mean, I'm a pretty happy guy, but apparently it's hard to tell sometimes. When it comes to emotions, all too often it seems that my face may reveal even less than my text messages. Here's the thing. We are social creatures. We need device-free time. So, the solution is simple. Simply hand over all your iPads to me. LOL. Okay, we could tell families to go back to the whole having nightly chats at the dinner table thing, or tell couples to go on device-free vacations, or try to just make better eye contact with each other. Yes, schools could and should place greater emphasis on core curriculum that emphasizes speaking and listening skills, which are all too often overlooked in the classroom. But let's face it, solutions lie with each of us. As communicators, we have to take advantage of every opportunity we have to improve our nonverbal skills, never forgetting how important they truly are. You know, how lucky are we? We get to participate in an interactive communication activity every weekend. We get a captive audience to listen to us for 8 minutes without being able to check their phones and listen to music. But the question is, do we continue to practice our communication skills once the award ceremony is over and we get back on that bus? So, what will happen to LOL in the next 25 years? Will we completely abandon it in favor of younger, hipper abbreviations? Or is it part of our language for the long term? The fact is, we just don't know. So doing away with technology before we completely understand it would be a big no-no. As effective communicators, we have to find that delicate balance between the benefits of face-to-face interaction and our love of personal technology. So, as we blow out the candles on LOL's birthday cake, let's vow that the next time we want to text something like LOL, LMAO, or some weird emoji, we instead say, hey, you know what? Let's wait till tomorrow. This is something you gotta hear in person. Because, let's face it, it's better that way anyway.
If we can have our poetry reading finalists up on stage. And down in finalist row, if we can have our finalists in informative speaking join us. And in 6th place in poetry reading, from Hinsdale Central, Nicole LeBou. In 3rd place, from Minooka, Tanika Warner. In 4th place, from Oak Lawn Community High School, Vaughn Smith. In 3rd place, from Downers Grove South, Peter Spitek. Your state runner-up in poetry reading, Eric Thomas from Southland College. Colleen Houston.
By the way, I was told that we are not allowed to do shout-outs anymore, so... Shout-out! Hey! Some people might complain that this poem is, at its core, shallow, expressing the same emotions again and again and again. I mean, how many times can you articulate your contempt before the audience gets a little bored? But, you know what? Those people would be wrong, because this is not the poem I'm writing to express my hatred for you. This poem is a poem I'm writing because my heart hurts so bad that sometimes I can't make it up off the floor. Albert Camus once said, "Blessed are the hearts that bend, for they shall never be broken." Our hearts are a part of us, and we are so flexible.
English poet Christina Rossetti once wrote, "'Tis better by far that you should forget and smile than that you should remember and be sad." Featuring the poems Lit or To the Scientist I Am Not Speaking To Anymore by Christian O'Keefe Actuitz and 40 Love Letters by Jean Ann Lee. Elastic Heart, a Broker. Dear Dennis, I still think of you. Dear Patrick, you're just too young. Dear Eric, I said horrible things about you. Your teeth are fine. It's the rest of you. Dear Jay, the bruises fell off eventually. Dear William, I love you. Simple. I like that we will never be we. Dear Derek, there was no one thing. Your everything was impossible. You are more absurd than Ionesco, more abstract than Joyce, more inconsistent than Agatha Christie, and more satanic than Rushdie's verses. I can't believe I used to want to Sappho you. I used to want to Pablo Neruda you. To Anais Nin and Henry Miller you. But self-imposed illiteracy isn't a turn on, dear John. I'll always love you. You are all there ever was. Dear Ethan, no. Dear Graham, I'll just swallow that again. Dear Freeman, I will never stop looking over my shoulders, boots laced, ready to run. Dear Kevin, your kiss came too late. My lips were already dancing in the other room with John. Dear Avery, you are the definition of unrequited. Don't say you didn't see this coming. Don't say you didn't realize this would be my reaction, because if that were true, then you are dumber than Lenny from Of My Sick Men. Blinder than Oedipus and Tiresias put together, and can feel less than a Dalton Trumbo character. You put the dick in Dickens. And the boo in Kowski, but you don't understand any of these references, do you? Because you don't read. You're a geology major, and you once told me that scientists don't read popular literature. We have more important things to do. Dear Dennis, I still think of you. Dear Skippy, I'm sorry about the whiskey and the tampon. I'm sorry I never called you. Dear Chris, I'm sorry I stalked you. I tried to forget me too. Dear Dex, I can't be with you again. Just accept it. Dear Nate, until you mock my smile, I was yours. Dear Cynthia, I was drunk. I thought you were too. Dear Miguel, you said a man never forgets his first blonde. What color are my eyes? Dear Aiden, I wrote a poem about you. It's everyone's favorite, but I find it trite. You used to make fun of me being a writer, saying scientists cure diseases. What do writers do? Of course, I mean, you wouldn't understand. Have you ever gotten an inner thirsted for Zora Neale Hurston? Or heard Angels Herald for you to read S. Scott Fitzgerald? Have you ever had a beat attack for Jack Kerouac? The only Morrison you know is Jim. If you think you're the noble one, go plath yourself. Your heart is so dark that even Joseph Conrad couldn't see it. And it's so buried under crap that even most cops couldn't hear it. Your mind is as empty as the library's Fahrenheit 451. Your mind is as empty as Silas Marner's coffers. Your mind is as empty as Huckleberry Finn's wallet. Dear Francis, I'd have broken you in half. Dear Ricky, maybe it was the red dress. Or because I was 50. Maybe you're still a pervert. Call me. Dear Robert, you are more than beer and vomit. You are more than I could ever put into a poem. Dear Dennis, I still think of you. Dear Logan, I think I finally stopped wanting you. Dear Mark, I like your wife too much. Is your brother still single? Dear Dennis, I keep your photos in a box. Each one still in its frame. I am writing this so that I can stop wanting to write the if only you would say one more word to me poem, but I'm tired of loving you because you don't love me right. And if some pretentious poem can stop me from thinking about the way your laugh sounds, well, I'd rather be miserable with you than happy with anyone else in the world. If some pretentious poem can do all that, then I am gone with the wind. I am on the road. I have flown over that freaking cuckoo's nest. I am gone.
Will our finalists in informative speaking join us on stage? And down here for finalist row, can we have the radio speakers? And don't forget to bring your scripts. There were 7 finalists in the final round of informative speaking. In 7th place, from Downers Grove North, Andy Osterman. In 6th place, from Richards High School, Roxanne Sajina. In 5th place, from University High School in Normal, Lisa Nagase. In 4th place, from Nequa Valley, Archit Tahar. Third place in informative speaking from Wheaton Warrenville South, James Zarowski. Your state runner-up, Bethany Dane from Melville West.
grow some baby spinach. E-I-E-I-O. There's some robotic seeding here and bioponic technology there. Here's a farm, there's a farm. Oh my gosh, it's a vertical farm. Old MacDonald has a vertical farm. E-I-E-I-O, courting. Privately owned company dedicated to the development of urban agriculture. A vertical farm is a multi-story building in the middle of an urban area. In essence, it's an automated growing system used to grow crops year-round, indoors. And as overpopulation and environmental issues become growing concerns for the future of agriculture, it wouldn't hurt to learn about this new agricultural technique. So today we'll take a look at the history of urban and vertical farming. Then we'll examine how these farms work and where we can find them. And finally, we'll discuss the implications of vertical farms. So everything has a history. Old MacDonald has a history because he's old. And even though vertical farming is a fairly new concept, its roots lie in a much older concept, urban farming. According to a May 9th, 2012 article in Agriculture magazine, The Dirt, one of the earliest forms of urban farming as social reform took place in 1891, when William Booth, the founder of the Salvation Army, bought 900 acres of land in London, England. With this land, William Booth started what he called farm colonies. His farm colonies soon became a vital tool in improving the health and the conditions of London's poor urban population. But our modern-day William Booth is Dr. Dixon Despommier, who spent 38 years as professor of environmental health sciences at Columbia University and is considered the father of the vertical farm concept. In a 2009 interview with the American Society of Landscape Architects, Despommier explains that the vertical farm idea arose in his classroom in 1999 as a theoretical construct as to how to deal with a wide variety of environmental and city-life issues. So as we can see, this idea of using urban agriculture as an instrument of social reform has remained the same from William Booth and his farm colonies to Dr. Despommier and our modern-day vertical farms. So what exactly is a vertical farm? Where can we find a vertical farm? If Old MacDonald had a farm which unionized, well, in his February 6, 2014 interview with The Guardian, botanist Dr. Eric Murchie of the University of Nottingham explains that a vertical farm is described as vertical because crops are grown on a smaller land area. And this usually means going upwards, vertical, into multi-story buildings. So basically, vertical farms are growing stacks on stacks on stacks of green. Dr. Murchie goes on to state some basic features of a vertical farm. These features include multi-level climate-controlled growing units, automated harvesting functions, robotic seeding, and artificial LED lights in place of natural sunlight as photosynthesizers. Now, crops are grown on vertical farms using bioponic technology, which, according to the Bioponics Institute on January 1st, 2013, is a food production technology that combines the use of aquaculture and hydroponics. Essentially, crops are grown in nutrient-enriched water instead of in soil. With this technology, vertical farms are able to grow flavorful, organic, and nutritional food without the use of pesticides or chemicals. This technology is used in Japan, where plant physiologist Haru Shimamura turned a former Sony Corporation semiconductor factory into the world's largest vertical farm. According to a May 9th, 2012 article in According to a July 6, 2014 article in the GE reports, Shimamura's farm is nearly half the size of a football field and grows 10,000 heads of lettuce per day. That's a lot of lettuce. Now let us take a look at some According to the April 6, 2014 NPR article titled, Food Scraps to Fuel Vertical Farming's Rise in Chicago, Chicago is emerging as a hotbed of urban agriculture innovation in the United States. This article goes on to shed light on one of the more popular vertical farms in the Chicago area called The Plant. Now, The Plant was once a meat packing facility. but it has now transformed into a net zero energy, self-sufficient, vertical farm. So as we can see, within the last 10 years, privately owned companies have not only opened up vertical farms overseas, but closer to home as well. Now, old McDonald's son, new McDonald, so let's discuss what the future may look like. The United States Census Bureau predicts that by the year 2050, 80% of the world's population will reside in urban areas, and the human population will increase by 3 billion people. These projections go on to state that an estimated 109 hectares of new land, the size of South America, will be needed to grow food to feed the growing population. But according to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, 80% of the land that is suitable for growing crops is already in use. And according to math, we don't have enough land. Because of these conflicts, agriculture specialists are beginning to consider new agricultural methods, such as vertical farming. Since vertical farm crops are grown on a small land area, upwards into buildings, this solves the land shortage issue. And according to Dr. Des Pommier, the ultimate vision for vertical farms is glass skyscrapers, filled with leafy greens, standing tall in the middle of cities such as Chicago, Tokyo, Sao Paulo. And one of the main advantages of vertical farms is its urban location. With food deserts and the lack of farmers markets and grocery stores in many poor inner city areas, vertical farms have the ability to bring fresh produce to people who usually go without it, thus improving their living and health conditions. A beautiful vision. This vision, however, is pricey. According to an October 10, 2010 article in The Economist, the cost of powering artificial lights on most vertical farms makes the entire concept prohibitively expensive. And various building and maintenance factors makes the idea surrealistic. This article goes on to state that only a select number of fruits and vegetables have successfully grown on vertical farms. These fruits and vegetables include tomatoes, various types of leafy greens, and a variety of small berries. So the question is, vertical farming, does it really stack up? Well, I have something to get off my chest. Old McDonald doesn't actually have a vertical farm, but new McDonald might, because he has a vertical farm. And hopefully, so do you. Today we plowed through the history of urban and vertical farming. Then we planted a seed of understanding how these farms work and where we can find them. And finally, we sprinkled the implications of this. From here, we should all be able to cultivate and grow our own opinions on vertical farms. Because now, when it comes to this, we should all E-I-E-I know.
If we can have our radio speakers join us on stage, and if we can have our finalists for humorous duet acting join us on finalist row. There were 7 finalists in the final round of radio speaking. In 7th place, from Grant High School, Jared Fox. In 6th place, from Downers Grove South, Jessica Lay. In 5th place, from Belleville West, Sam Geiger. In 4th place, from Wheaton North, Leah White. In 3rd place, from Nequa Valley, Shreya Rao. Your state runner-up in radio speaking from Shepherd High School, Mike Reddy.
The European Union debates ways to protect itself from terrorist attacks. A federal judge rules the NSA legally collected internet and telephone records, and the Illinois driver's license requirements may change. Good evening. This is the WBBA News Break. I'm Divya Sarabi. Today's news break is brought to you by Baxter's American Grill, a Chicago-style dining experience. In leading international news, European Union leaders are debating a range of ambitious steps to better protect their 28 nations from terror attacks. The bloc's counterterrorism coordinator says Europe is facing an unprecedented, diverse, and serious terrorist threat. Leaders meeting in Brussels are looking at exchanging airliner passenger manifests, tightening controls at the border, and combating extremism on the internet. Meanwhile, in Asia, Chinese relatives of passengers on a missing Malaysia Airlines flight are urging Malaysia to rescind a declaration that all of those on board have died. A group of about 15 people holding on to hope their loved ones are still alive protested outside the air carrier's office today. Malaysia's government last month declared the incident was an accident and that all 239 people on board are presumed dead, paving the way for compensation claims. Topping national news. A federal judge has sided with the government in a lawsuit alleging the NSA is illegally collecting bulk internet and telephone records in the hunt for potential terrorists. U.S. District Judge Jeffrey White says AT&T customers who brought the suit had not shown that all AT&T customers' internet communications were currently the subject of a seizure and search program controlled by or at the direction of the government. On the East Coast, a New York politician faces federal charges for taking nearly $4 million in payoffs and kickbacks, crimes that carry up to 100 years in prison and could cost him his political seat. Assembly Speaker Sheldon Silver was taken into custody on Thursday by the FBI. He's the sixth New York legislative leader to face prosecution in the past 6 years. However, Silver says he is confident that he will be vindicated. Leading today's top local stories, Illinois residents who want to fly may need a different form of ID next year because a driver's license might not work. The state is under new pressure to get in compliance with a 10-year-old federal law. That will require changing driver's license requirements in Illinois, something the Secretary of State says could cost $100 million or more. In news from Peoria, a Peoria man has been convicted of fatally shooting a state lawmaker's stepson at a house party last spring. Jurors deliberated for about an hour before finding Sean Walls guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Derek Booth Jr. He was the stepson of Democratic Representative John Gordon Booth and the son of Manual Academy basketball coach Derek Booth Sr. News on the Bears' new assistant offensive line coach and a look at today's forecast after these words from our sponsor, Baxter's American Grill. Sick of the same boring old dining experience day in and day out? Break the chain with a lunch from Baxter's American Grill. Baxter's lunch is unrivaled with exquisite sandwiches, salads, pasta, and seafood available 11 to 4 daily. Executive Chef Scott Rowan serves up hot lunch entrees like shrimp and scallop pasta, barbecue chicken salad, and Baxter's signature pretzel burger. Worried about getting back to work on time? Relax. Baxter's prides itself on making you an exceptional lunch in a timely manner. So break the chain with a new feel, new attitude, and a new hangout. Baxter's American Grill, a Chicago-style dining experience. And we're back for a look at sports. The Chicago Bears have hired Ben Wilkerson as assistant offensive line coach. Wilkerson played in 32 games over 3 NFL seasons with the Cincinnati Bengals and Atlanta Falcons. Wilkerson spent 2014 teaching physical education and serving as an assistant football and track coach. From the gridiron to the courts, here are the latest NBA scores. Our Chicago Bulls charged past the Minnesota Timberwolves 95-89, and the Memphis Grizzlies tore through the Detroit Pistons 72-68. Weather for the WBBA listening area, today's outlook. Have your shovels handy because we'll have a chance for snow with a high in the upper 20s and a low in the teens. On Sunday, we'll have partly cloudy skies along with a high in the 30s and a low in the lower 20s. And on Monday, cloudy skies continue and we'll have a high in the upper 30s and lows in the mid-20s. This has been Divya Sarabi for the WBBA News Update, brought to you by Baxter's American Grill. Thanks for listening and enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening.
Sixth place in humorous duet acting from Thornton High School, Angelica Parker and Shaquan Taylor. In fifth place, from Richards High School, Jason Mallow and Caroline Eaton. In fourth place, from Elk Grove Village, Alex Diaz and Nicholas Wilcox. Third place, from Hinsdale Central, Jackson Dockery and Presley Renner. In second place, from Warren High School, Jamia Johnson Rockingham and Jared Gardner. And your tournament champions in humorous duet acting, Reese Richardson and Boston champion Zach Kennedy.
God, this is gonna be great. Oh, go! Hey, baby! I know you want to get in this Ford Focus. Come on! Whoa, honey! You know, guys like us don't just fall out of trees. Unless we meant to! Yeah! And never come back! That's right! Just like my dad. Go where the real babes are. Real babes? Walk around. Let's go. As rapper Ice J.J. Fish once said. That deserves to be cherished, no matter what. Find more possible. Go out there and sort a lot of sluts. You're fine, just go. Hey ladies, what's up? Who's a neighbor? Ooh, girl, you look good today. We'll take a table for two. One for Lewis and one for Dave. Okay. Man, can you help me out here? I think it's locked. Lose the name! 10 minutes? Okay, we'll be here. Right here. Yeah. Man, I love Applebee's. Yeah. Oh,
In town?
Thursday. That is what I said.
Man, I can't till Thursday. Have
What?
book club.
What?
Hey, baby, how you like working at Applebee's? Good benefits?
Is it your break or something? Or is it emotional work? What is book club? It's book club. What is one book club? You read books. What is book club?
We get together every Thursday and we read a new book every month. So last month we did Robinson. This month we're doing Hemingway. And next month we're doing Plato and Camus.
Oh! Oh, you're messing with me. Killer whales can't write books.
That's Shamu. And it's the French writer, philosophy.
Right. Okay, so how about we just hang out and watch the game then? What game? The Niners and the Bears. It's a classic.
Oh, the Niners and hockey. Man, what a day for the symphony to be in town. The symphony. You know, I would skip it, but I bought tickets, and it's Mahler. When it's done right, it's really moving, and I just don't like this thing. Come on, stop it. You can take this one. Right, I'm going to play the yeah, it's romantic on this one, okay? Okay, I don't know how. It's good. It's cool. Hey, baby! Is that dress belt? Would you like it to be? They go whenever they're in town.
You never told me that.
It's never, came up.
Right. Dave, do you ever feel like we're growing apart?
No! It's just 2 peas in, so sorry. 2 peas in the pot. How long have we known each other?
8 years.
8 years! Since sophomore year of high school. Oh, we're just like, man, Dave and Lewis and Dave.
Names.
We're brothers.
Yeah. Brothers.
I was kind of wait till later for this one, but it's something special. I figured, well, I should probably do that. Lewis. Hi. I got you these.
What's this?
Ballet tickets.
What?
I'm in the ballet.
What?
I'm wired.
No. Excuse me, can you cancel reservation, please? We're going somewhere else. Thank you.
What are you doing? We've been waiting for like 5 minutes.
I'm leaving, Dave.
Going where?
I think I have to go to the spa, get a manicure.
I am so down for that.
How long have you been with the ballet?
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me?
We're nothing special. We put our tights on one leg at a time, just same as any other ballet company.
Yeah, fine.
Okay, I'll skip them all.
Oh, never mind. Don't do Mahler, don't ShamWow.
Camus,
Whatever. Why don't you tell me this? I'm your best friend.
Sit down. I didn't tell you any of this stuff because I knew you'd get mad. You might not want to hang out with me. Look, Lewis, I have something to tell you. I'm an intellectual. Like, just hanging out with the girls. There's gotta be. At least one.
No. No, there is not. There's literally all there is in life. It's like, wait, no, not on the table. You're having a
I actually like a table, please. Don't listen.
We're not that kind of moment. Shut up. Hang out and get girls. That's all we do. That's what's fun.
Maybe I'm just different.
Wait. You don't like politics, do you? Oh, come on!
See you later, brother. Dave! Yeah, Lewis?
Same time next Saturday.
Oh, hey, baby. You looking for a couple of good men just like us?
No, that's a dude, that's totally a dude.
Sorry, sir.
For special occasion speaking, join us down in Finalist Row, and our prose readers join us up on stage. There were 6 finalists in the final round of prose reading. In 6th place, from Downers Grove South, Jessica Lay. In 5th place, from Sandburg, Albert Tracy. In 4th place, from Thornton High School, Malachi Herndon. In 3rd place, from Glenbrook North, Camilla Kaplanoff. Your state runner-up in prose reading, from Prospect High School, James Barkwarson. And your state champion in prose reading, Mary Spalding from University High School.
I began at Dunkin' Donuts. I hadn't gone there in about a year since I started Weight Watchers because I needed to lose weight. Well, because my doctor made me go. But anyways, Weight Watchers is a good organization. I mean, it does actually work if you do the program, and they try so hard to make you like you, which, as you may know, is a problem a lot of fat people have. Skinny people look at fat people with disgust and have visions of them stretched out on fuchsia-colored silk sofas, snarfing down Cool Ranch Doritos and Ben and Jerry's. When it isn't like that. What it is eating, and eating with your shoulders hunched and your head down, and you have so much shame when you gobble things down you hardly even taste them. You start with, I want, and you end with, I want, only now you have even more weight added to what was already too much, and don't think that we don't know it all the time. This may come as a surprise to some of you, but I'm loud. And I've known I was loud since I was 9 years old, but even so, it still makes me insecure when people point it out. All of us have something. Through her story, author Elizabeth Berg helps us realize that the bravest thing you can do is love yourself. All of yourself. The Day I Ate Whatever I Wanted by Elizabeth Berg. Because whether it be race, gender, or body image, we shouldn't have to look like someone before we try to understand how they feel. I went to my Weight Watchers meeting one day, and there was a new member there who absolutely blew my mind. She was a blind woman. And I guess here's my question. When that blind woman looks into her mirror, what does she see? And anyway, she had no visible blubber. I just walked out. I told myself, no, today, on account of that woman, on behalf of that woman, I am going to eat anything I want from now until midnight. And I drove right on over to Dunkin' Donuts, and I cannot tell you how swell that felt. I said, just get a big box, please, but maybe we won't quite fill it. So the counter worker got out one of those huge Dunkin' Donut boxes, and I just started salivating. She raised her eyebrow, and I said, okay. Chocolate frosted, a key lime, a lemon bark, a maple frosted, a coffee roll, a maple frosted coffee roll, a cranberry muffin, a bagel with cream cheese and butter on the bagel, and a plain Dunkin' Donut. I got in my car and I looked around. There was no one. So I ran my tongue along every single surface of every single donut. I went on in this manner until about a third of my donuts were gone. Then I threw the rest away. I decided I'd go for lunch to this cafe where I know the waitresses do not in any way judge what you order. So I got a bacon cheeseburger, a chocolate malt, and I loaded my fries up with salt. And when I paid the cashier, I got a bag of Cheetos. I love Cheetos so much, it kind of makes my butt hurt. By now, I was feeling the shame, but also defiance. Like, here I'm carrying the banner for all of you who cut off a little piece wanting a big one. You who spend a good third of your hours feeling bad about your desires. You on the program who spends all day, every day tallying points like, what can I have for so little? Oh, I know, broth. And broth is good. Yes. Yes, that is what we tell ourselves. We who cannot eat air without gaining, we who eat the asparagus longing for fettuccine alfredo, for pecan pie, for potatoes au gratin, and if you're one of those who doesn't, then stop right here. You are not invited to the rest of this story. I knew after the day was over, I'd have to go back to the plan, and go back to my meeting and confess, which is fine. Really, you can say anything in a meeting. Sometimes the person will take up practically the whole time telling us how she fell off the wagon, and all of us just sit there at the edge of our seats feeling a little bit smug. That it wasn't us. This time. The next day, I went to my Weight Watchers meeting. And I got weight. I was 4 pounds up. I would like to end this by saying that it felt really good to cheat all day, to eat whatever I wanted. But it didn't. I felt like this one time when I was a little girl and I sat on the porch steps one summer evening with my dad and we were watching the neighborhood kids chase each other up and down the block at breakneck speed. I was already chubby and he was a very fat man. Really, really pretty blue eyes. A couple times I was with him when people made jokes about how fat he was, and he would laugh like he thought it was funny, and his belly would shake up and down, but their remarks hurt him. I could see it. Even then, inside the house, hidden between my mattresses, was a stockpile of Butterfingers. I couldn't wait till bedtime. I thought there was delicacy to the way that I lick the chocolate off my fingers. I thought it was beautiful. I wish someone could see.
Special occasion speakers, please join us up on stage. And original comedy finalists, please join us in finalists row. There were 6 finalists in the final round of special occasion speaking. In 6th place, from Nequa Valley, Tushar Twivedi. In 5th place, from University High School, Christina Sue. In 4th place, from Glenbard West, Grace Houghton Larson. In 3rd place, from Prospect, Allie O'Connor. Your state runner-up in special occasion speaking from Marion High School, Jocelyn Billheimer. In the 2015 state champion in special occasion speaking, John Murphy for Regional IHSA.
Now, I'd like to conclude by thanking you all for coming today. Then let's head on over to my 3rd point, and next we'll chat about my 1st point over here, and finally we'll bring it on back to my 2nd point, and then we'll wrap it all together in my introduction. Wait, it's A, B, C, D, not B, D, A, C. And yet, the room isn't in shambles, and God hasn't struck me down, yet. But that's not how it's been done before. And again, and again, and again. Does that even matter? In Daniel H. Pink's A Whole New Mind, By Right Brainers Will Rule the Future, he argues that linear thinking, unlike my timeless good looks, has become outdated. As we move from the information age to the conceptual age, we're following a straightforward and logical thought path once thrived, it now begins to wither away in the wake of a wide-open world, whittle by whittle. I know what you're thinking. Willie? And yet, we allow ourselves to be held back by the perceived safety of a formula. Following a linear formula feels safe, easy, and logical. But as we're going to find out, it's that very perceived safety that has only served to hinder our innovations and growth. That's why I am here today to speak to you at this innovation and education session for the Illinois Communication and Theater Association. Now, I believe that one should practice what they preach. Therefore, I have 3 main points, in no particular order. Seriously, you choose, and I know, audience participation may be a little scary, but after curling up near the fire with the rulebook for a few hours, I found out it's totally kosher. So, danger, nature, or break? What do you want to hear first?
Danger.
Danger. So what's so bad about the good old linear method anyway? It kills innovation. In no place is this issue more prevalent than our school system. Sir Ken Robinson in his optimistic TED Talk, How Schools Kill Creativity, states that our education system is a very linear process. It sets out not to find things that kids can do, but rather things to which they'll conform. Hell, even my high school experience was driven in a straight line. I missed out on art classes, extracurriculars. I've never even kissed a girl. Someday, John. Danger number 2. It minimizes potential. Pioneer of informal learning, Jay Cross, states that we learn in networks, not lines. So while the linear model may be easy to instruct and regurgitate again and again and again, it doesn't utilize and again the maximum potential of our web applications. What it does do is promote routine, laziness, and an assembly line mentality. But hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Yeah, what is the U.S. now, like 89th in literacy? Oh, sorry, I don't have a source. I only learned to read shortly after conceiving this joke. Danger number 3. We lose sight of content. Professor Raymond Dolan of University College London states that we've become inexplicably obsessed with having everything be uniform. So when something finally goes it offends our expectations to the point that the actual substance becomes irrelevant. So basically, it doesn't matter what we're saying as long as we say it in that preset pattern, which really doesn't matter. And see. The dangers. Next, let's discuss nature or break. What would you like to do?
Break.
Break. I'm going to be honest. We've been conditioned for a long, linear time. It's going to take some courage for us to break this mold, but what better place than to start right here at ICTA with you educators who teach structure? The research points to 3 strategies. Strategy 1, make learning student-centric. Educational theorist Stuart Hayes states that with a more student-centric manner of learning, involving individualized and malleable lesson plans, students will be more actively involved in their own educations. There are models for this. Montessori, homeschooling. There are models for our current education system, too. Prison. Hayes found that the teacher-centric manner of learning we use today is pushing every single student down one singular path of education. It's like shoving them into a sausage maker. It focuses too heavily on efficiency over innovation. It creates a lot of weeds. Strategy 2, adapt and evolve. We've got to get with the times. Art, music, and literature have all adapted to our increasingly non-linear world. It's producing truly transcendent work. Take, for example, one of the greatest lyricists of all time. No, not me, although my mixtape is fire. I'm talking about Stephen Sondheim, pioneer of the deconstructed or non-linear music. His style holds no regard for structure, yet took Sondheim out of the woods and into the pinnacle of his profession. Strategy 3, murder Alan Monroe! Or rather, Monroe's motivated sequence. Developed in the mid-1930s, this useful paradigm has no doubt been effective as it's become the basic structure for a plethora of persuasive presentations. But it's somehow gone from being a structure to just about the only structure. Cause, effect, solution. We get it. But we don't need to have it that way anymore. So, we've discussed the dangers and break. Next, let's look at nature, or proof that we're non-linear creatures. I have 3 things. Thing 1, storytelling. The non-linear narrative has been around since Homer and the Iliad, which is almost as long as it took me to read the Iliad. While it's nothing new to entertainment, it wasn't until the 1990s that filmmaker Quentin Tarantino brought the style to the forefront of the industry with his film Pulp Fiction. Tarantino rearranged the typical linear structure we'd become accustomed to. Go figure, we totally got it. Wow. Thing 2, our brain. Stanford Medicine states that our brains consist of over 200 billion neurons, give or take 7. They create thought by connecting to each other with jolts of electricity. Because of this, structure cannot be strictly imposed on the human mind. And while some things may seem more logical in sequence, like going from first to second in baseball or on a date, our crammed in between a beginning and an end. Which leads me to thing 3, primacy recency theory. Bennett B. Murdoch, in his research on primacy recency theory, found that when presented with a list, we're more likely to remember the first and last items than those in the middle. Our minds need bookends. The books in the middle, not so much. Take Harry Potter, for example. Harry goes to Hogwarts, Dumbledore dies. I'm sure there were tons of shenanigans along the way. But the key to the middle is not the order in which it's presented, but rather the quality and the contrast of its own unique parts. Truthfully, it has been delightful to speak to you all here today in this innovation and education session for the Illinois Communication and Theater Association about the dangers of a linear mold, of our own nonlinear nature, and how we can break that mold. My dad once told me, "John, you're not normal." But Dad, shut up, son. Not normal is okay, because life is not a straight arrow. I think he's right. Some of us are more Picasso than Rembrandt. Life can be a little messed up, jumbled around, with an occasional beauty. That's why this redheaded stepchild with a goofy smile and desire to color outside the lines is done being held back. I'm gonna kiss you. Or her. Or him. I'm kissing somebody here today. From this rigid linearity that we've imposed upon ourselves. And embrace nonlinear for all of its endless opportunities. Which leads me to my introduction.
All right, everybody, we have reached the final event of the evening. In 6th place in original comedy, from Oak Lawn Community High School, Jonathan Cortez. In 5th place, from Prospect, Andrew Pittman. In 4th place, from Downers Grove South, Reese Richardson. In 3rd place, from Cary Grove, Olivia Rory. Your state runner-up in original comedy, Tyler Herron from Belleville West. And your state champion in original comedy,
Hi, my name is D'Angelo Davis, and I'm black. And my president's black, and my hypothetical Lambo's blue. D'Angelo, Lambo's? Mom, it's a Lamborghini. You know that I don't like pasta. Now you're supposed to be doing your project about Frederick Douglass, but you up here talking about some noodles. Is this another one of your satirical presentations? Why, yes, it is. But you know that people don't understand satire. Hey, son, there's a pretty girl at the door for you. Really? No! I was just saying that so you can get on out the house quicker. Dad, I'm under a lot of pressure right now. You know, I got this project to deal with, and well, how's that supposed to make me feel any better? It's not! Now, son, this is a very sensitive issue, and I'm hoping that we can trust you with this. Now, a lot of people are going to get offended, but don't let that stop you from doing what you know is right. Because Black history is a part of human history. All right, son? Wow, well, thanks, Mom. But wait, you can't leave without this. My Rosa Parks action figure. It comes with a pair of shoes and matching bus pass. And look what happens when I pull the string. Me? Get up out this seat. You crazy. Let me get around here. Wait, D'Angelo, before you go. Do you want the Dora the Explorer fruit snacks or the Teletubbies? Mom, I'm 17. Dora. I love you. Well, at least I made it to school on time. D'Angelo, supplies, I made you a cake. It's chocolate. Greg, my birthday's not until July. Oh, I know, it's not for your birthday. It's for your mom. It's February! And look, it's Martin Luther King! Greg, you shouldn't have. Was the balcony too much? I really don't have a lot of friends. Well, at least we made it to class on time. Well, hello, class. I'm your teacher, Miss Helms, and before we start, let me take attendance. Oh, well, it looks like everyone's here except Devontae. Are you talking about me? Because my name's D'Angelo. Daquan, that is me. Now, I decided to do all Black History Month projects. And the person with the best Black History Month project gets their picture taken and put on the wall up there. Now, I don't want to hear any race jokes. Because Jimmy's dad's a NASCAR driver. Can I go first then? Aquarium, please. Let me know first. You're one to go last. So, first I think we'll have... Jimmy, why don't you go first? Okay. And for my Black History Month project, I'm going to talk to you all about George Washington Carver and how he discovered the peanut. And it all started like this. At a church service. And the Lord and Abraham both went down to the river. And Abraham stuck his foot in the water. He was like, Lord, it's too cold. Now, I'm not saying right now making sense, but it comes from the Lord. Can I get an amen? Yes, Father. What is this? Oh, it was there that he found a peanut, which was Next's greatest invention, the peanut allergy pop. And this is why we can all have peanut butter today. But that teacher, that has nothing to do with Black history. The reason I'm single, please. Now, we are going to take a little break from our presentations because we have some visitors. Visitors? Mom, Dad, oh hey D'Angelo, I got dressed up in my Rosa Parks costume. Yeah, and I'm Martin Luther King. And look, we brought your little brother. I'm a peanut. Oh. Well, Rosa, there are some seats in the back if you'd like. Don't even worry about it, honey. I got this. Me? Sit back there. We weren't really expecting you to show up. Jeff, why don't you go? All right, y'all. Well, for my Black History Month project, I'm gonna talk to y'all about Martin Luther King. Now, I'm pretty sure that you know that he only had one dream, right? Right? Wrong, because it all started like this. At a therapist visit. Martin, how does your narcolepsy seem to be treating you? Martin, I just had a dream that one day little Caucasian boys and girls would have dreams of becoming rappers. Martin, I just had a dream that one day I would be able to celebrate a full month of Black history. Not just 28 days. president. That gon' never happen. No. Hey, bro, chill. I voted Obama. It's not bad, it's just none of these projects make any sense. The Lion King, please! Did I say that you could go?
You know what? Yes, you did now. Let him speak.
Wow, thanks, Greg.
Yeah, I got you, Angelo. You my neighbor.
Hi, my name is D'Angelo Davis, and I'm black. My president's black. Look, I just can't do this anymore. These people are more than just posters on walls. Martin Luther King wrote so many other pieces of literature, and we just reduce them to one line. People like Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass almost died for something that we all believe in. And George Washington Carver didn't discover the peanut. No one did. It's a peanut. It can't be discovered. So we really need to stop reducing these people just to what we see every February. Wow, that was very good, the keys to the Benz. But as we all know, there can only be one winner, so D'Angelo, you won. Well, you mean I won? Well, son, we're very proud of you. Yeah, we couldn't have asked for a better son than you.
Oh, but what about me, Daddy?
Oh, hush, hush. Well, I've been waiting my whole high school career for this. And now, it's finally here. Cheese!
We have one last order of business. As we're wrapping up, we're going to recognize the top 3 teams in the state. Coaches, your packets are just outside this door at the check-in desk. Ask Miranda Lambert for them on your way out. We'd ask that the team and coaches come up and be recognized. In 3rd place, with 21 points, the team from Downers Grove South. Ladies and gentlemen, for 3rd place, team in state 2015, Downers Grove South. In 2nd place, with 24 points, the team from Wheaton, Warrenville South. In second place, with 24 points, the team from Wheaton, Warrenville South. Please join us in congratulating this year's team champion for 2015 with 29 points, the team from Hinsdale Central. And your state championship team for 2015, once again the team from Hinsdale Central.
No, I